SMBMSP and get information about all our monthly, all our on. We've been doing this, connecting people and ideas over coffee and bacon since 2008. So we are very pleased to be able to continue to do so and do so far into the future. So welcome, and we're very glad you're here. Our next event, next month, right here in this space, social media case studies featuring case studies from Olson, Fallon, and Space 150. These are always very popular events. You can grab tickets right now on our website, they're always packed with interesting information and takeaways and things like that. So you should definitely check that out. But now, the main event. So Hanna has been presenting for SMB probably since the beginning. She is the driving force behind Puke Rainbows Creative, and always one of our most talked about and requested speakers. You are about to have an experience. So strap in and help me welcome to the stage Hanna.
Hello. We're gonna get stuff switched over really quickly here. An experience. That feels like a lot of pressure. I don't know.
Is she on?
The experience might be me coughing for half the time because I have bronchitis, so apologies for that. And I'm glad that so many of you guys are first timers. This is my 4th time that I've been here, and I am repeating just like a few things, so it won't be repeats for everyone, at least, so that's great. Today we're going to talk about budget-friendly video, and I might say a few bad words. Is that okay? Like, it's Friday morning, right? We can all handle. Do you guys need me to, like, earmuffs if it's coming up or anything like that? No? Okay. Just making sure. Awesome. Do we have that clicker hooked up, guys? Oh, so fancy. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, how many of you guys have been, oh, well, this is me, actually. This is better than my headshot. So this is, this is pretty much what I look like this morning. And didn't want to get out of bed at all. Does everybody else have a picture like this when they were a kid? You're like just drooling all over, and your parents are like, look at how cute you are. And you're like, I hate you so much. So today we're going to talk about a couple things. I'm going to help you guys save money. Does that sound good? Because video is terrifyingly expensive, right? Yeah, okay. So I'm going to tell you what the pros wish you knew, or maybe what they don't wish you knew, because how they make some extra money off of you, just if you're not so prepared. Production basics, which will be a lot of the down and dirty things that probably terrify a lot of the people in the room, right? So I'm here to make it seem more approachable and a lot easier. I know that if you Google video production on YouTube, you're inundated with like 322-year-old geeky men that are like, this is the compression rate for the H.264, and it's a little bit like, right? So I'm going to use really complicated industry words like fuzzy filter, things that you'll like really understand. And then I'm going to talk about how to get people to watch organically so that you can save money that way as well. And at the end, we're going to do a live video critique, which is super fun. I spoke at Wistia Fest in Boston this summer, and the guys from Sandwich Video did a live video critique session, and it was a lot of fun. And we thought, hey, why not shake it up and add to the session this time? So, yay, cool. So, I'm just wondering, I guess, show of hands, have you guys used video even personally? Like, what, have you used it at all? That even means like using your smartphone. Cool. How many of you guys have been on like a video shoot? Okay. How are you primarily using video? I want you to go ahead and shout out. Like, is it part of your strategy? Do you have a budget? What's it looking like right now for you? Shout out, shout out. Social media ads, yes, for sure. Anyone doing testimonial videos from clients? Yep. Those are harder than they look, right? because then you have a bunch of footage to look through, and it takes forever. Great. Well, good. We'll keep going. Here are some stats. I know that you guys are smart enough to know this already because you're here, first of all, but I figure it never hurts to have some extra information to show your boss to help, maybe pad that budget a little bit, right? So some of these are pretty new stats. The 1 minute of video is worth 1.8 million words is actually a stat that Forrester Research came up with as far as how effective video is. And it's really amazing because the retention rate they found in video is 95%, as opposed to if somebody just reads an article, it's 10%. So how many of you guys can remember watching a video ad in the last week? Yeah. How many of you can remember reading the exact words an ad said? Not really. How many of you can remember movie quotes really well? How many of you forget a family member's birthday? Right? I'm so guilty. Same thing. So, same thing. Images resonate. They tap into a different part of our brain. Because when you're actually seeing something psychologically, you feel like you're actually going through that movement. And the same thing goes for if you're writing scripts that way as well. So keep that in mind when you're writing scripts, to use action words. So instead of something to the effect of, Sally likes apples, you would want to say something more to the effect of, Sally walked into the apple orchard and was smelling the blossoms around her, something like that. Because right in that moment, it will make your viewer engage in a different way than speaking at them. You're bringing them into the story. So something to think about as we just get started. How video is different a little bit than other things. So what do the pros wish that you knew? This is like my number one thing. People come to me and they ask me this, right? They're like, I need you to make me a viral video. What an asshole. So reach used to be kind of the biggest thing, the biggest metric that people wanted. I would say now the biggest metric that people are looking for is conversions and targeting, really hyper targeting to your audience. People are realizing that just because a video goes viral doesn't mean that it's going to do wonderful things for your company. I've seen people go viral and get on Ellen, and then their business folds 2 months later because it wasn't to the right audience and it didn't go viral for the right reasons. Maybe people thought they were a little silly and weird, so that can be a problem. So yeah, make me a viral video is not a request. So that's what pros would love for you to know. And yes, I did actually search through stock photos for someone that I thought kind of looked a little douchey, I'm not gonna lie. That was intentionally very fun and very easy to do in the stock photos for some reason. So I want you to actually know your goal before you come to me. Because so often I spend hours and hours and hours, and I'm happy to do it because I worked in digital strategy forever, and that's fine if you want to pay me to do it, but I'm guessing that my hourly rate is probably a lot higher than what you might be expecting. So since you know your business already, know that goal up front, what you want to do. What are some potential goals you could have for video? What goals have you guys had? This, to educate, promote an event. Leadership, thought leadership, yes. Motivating people. Content downloads, yes, absolutely. So super specific goals. Oh, you guys are smart. I like this crowd. And you like swear words. This is fun. Awesome. So knowing your budget, super important. I feel like in Minnesota, talking about money is this thing that people are terrified of. I feel like I always bring it up the first meeting, almost within the first probably 5 minutes, and people are like, "Oh, money? I don't know. I think that you're supposed to tell me that. I don't know. I don't really know." And I can't tell you how many times people have been like, "I don't want to offend you, but we only have $5,000 or whatever that is." And I'm like, "You're not gonna offend me. I don't care. It's like, it's not my allowance. I'm not gonna, it's not a big deal." So I need to know how much you have for a budget if you have a budget. And if you don't have a budget, we're probably not working together, chances are. But so this is one of the reasons, and it's just a good metaphor that my lead shooter, Nick Kessler, uses. And he always says, video is like buying a house. Wow, hey, Erica, you didn't edit this slide very well. But we need to be reined in just like realtors. So giving us a range is awesome. Because I've been on shoots that are, $500 shoots, and I've been on shoots that are $500,000 shoots. And I need to know where you're starting so that I can help you do as much as you can within your realm of possibility. And just because it's a lower budget doesn't mean it's low creativity. I'm going to show you guys a couple ways to take low budget things and make them very creative and fun, and even if you don't have any budget. So just know you're not going to offend me if you don't have a huge budget, and I get it, and I've been there for sure. So the other thing is know your audience. That's probably the second most common thing I get, is that people come in and I'll say, "Okay, cool, who are we talking to in this video? Who is your audience?" And people go like, "Well, we don't want to alienate anyone. We don't want to leave anyone out, And but the thing is if you don't know who you're talking to, video is the same as if you're writing a piece, writing a blog post or something. If you don't know who you're talking to, then you're not really talking to anyone. You're just kind of, you don't know who you are, right? And by pinpointing that, you will shape your brand and people will identify it, and the right customers will gravitate towards you. So that brand style guide is going to have to carry across everything, right? The next thing like I just said, know your brand. So I'm shocked at how many people spend thousands of dollars on brand style guides for print and for your logo. And it's like, if you touch my logo, I will murder you, But it's like, but that's okay, like the video, whatever, it doesn't matter, So you need to think about the fact that your video needs to match your style guide that you have for print or that you have for your website. Oftentimes that happens where I'll step onto someone's website and it's been done beautifully, it looks amazing, and then you go into your video and you're like, what 3-year-old shot this? Like, what happened? Nothing is in focus, and I don't know what's happening, you guys. Like, just give me a cat video. That'd be better, So, so you need to really think about how to bring your brand into your video. What does that look like? If you have tons of pictures on your website of your employees smiling and laughing and doing that type of thing, then hey, maybe a culture video is the first video you should do, because your website is already conveying that. You want to bring that over and animate that and make it live, right? One example of that is actually a client of mine. They gave me a call, Media Junction, they're awesome, they're in town. Second most successful HubSpot agency in the world, actually. So, and they're hiring. So if anybody's looking for a job, check out Media Junction. They came to me and they were doing these educational style videos. Basically, HubSpot had said, hey, these are really great. You should do these. So they took their former theater major, Bella, and put her on TV, put her on video, and she did tutorial videos like this in front of a blank wall. And they called me and they said, oh, we don't know what's going on because like we think that our videos are well produced, but they don't seem to be resonating with our audience, and they don't seem to be doing anything for us really, and we just don't know. We don't do video. We make websites. We make websites. So come help us figure that out, right? So what we did was we sat down and we looked at their website, we looked at their brand, we looked at everything, and what we determined was that if you can slap the logo of your competitor on your video, it's not the right story. So I think that that's probably the biggest mistake that I am seeing in video right now, is that people are seeing what their competitors are doing, and then they're like, well, I guess that means that we need to do something like that. And that's not what sets you apart. Or I'll walk into the room and I'll say, what sets you apart? And people will say, the blah, blah, blah creative ideation process that we have. Like it's like this patented thing, which I'm sorry, and I hate to break this to you, but every single agency like does research and delivers that, and in the same way, they just call it something different. So the story might not necessarily be your patented design process, because to me, that feels extremely cold, right? It feels like it's a process. It's cold. It's something that somebody else could do and somebody else could mimic. But what I want to know is, how did you get to that process? Why is that process important to you? Who created the process? And how long have they been around? What do they know? What do they care about? And would I get along with them? Would I want to work with that person? Are they an actual human, or do you just take this like patented design thinking that you do and apply it to every single thing so every single thing looks exactly the same? So just think about that a little bit, because I'm seeing that as a trend right now in video, is like this design thinking, and there's like 800 design thinking videos out there, and everyone's like, we're so unique, which is a little bit like a football coach saying like, hey, we run the option, so we're so unique, So what we did then with Media Junction is I said, hey, okay, here's the deal. Let's do a little teaser campaign, because you guys are just hopping into video in a different way. You guys love dogs. You have them everywhere. You have won 1,000,010 awards. You're top in the world, so we want to shoot it really nicely. And we also want to show that you guys don't take yourselves too seriously, right? And so this is what we came up with, just a really quick, short spot, and this was meant for recruiting for them, to kind of just be a little flashy reel, basically. So let's hope that the sound works. Yeah. Kind of. Go back? Oh, go back. Oh. Meant to do that. That's okay. So that's Media Junction. We'll. Okay. You're fine. Okay. You can keep talking. Just don't change your slide. Improv, go. All right. Oh, are we playing it again? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, good. So a couple of things in there that we really loved were, not taking yourselves too seriously by showing like a bunch of awards and then suddenly the cupcake pops up, right? Because they love cupcakes, they always do birthdays. The other thing was using silence to gain attention. So we had a little pause before we did the 3, 2, 1 liftoff, and that was intentionally done because Franny, the dog in the photo, is always the dog that is kind of like running at new people when they come into the office. So she's like, ah, like she gets really excited. So it's like just preparing you, just so you know, this is gonna happen. So, and this is great. This is actually, they said that they've gotten some new clients out of it and some new recruits because they're like, oh wow, you guys really stepped up your game and it's matching what you guys are doing with your website, and it just seemed like it would be a really energetic, fun, cool place to work. And that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted to keep it simple. So, yay, mission accomplished. The other thing to do with professionals, if you're going to use them at all, is to ask for examples. Because oftentimes, if I'm working with somebody like Under Armour or Target, I'm asked to sign an NDA, and I can't put that stuff on my website. So there are definitely chances that, I have examples of the type of stuff that you want to do that aren't living on my website. So definitely ask about that. Ask about similar clients. And if they can't answer that, I'd be a little bit leery, Also, when a way that you can cut costs by working with I would call it like a quasi-professional, would be to hop on board with a senior at a College of Art and Design or a film school senior that's still in school. But one thing you need to remember when you're working with students, because I've seen people get burned a lot on this, is that you need to have a 100% clear vision of what you need, exactly when you need it, and I would tell them much earlier than when you actually need it, and be ready to handhold a little bit in exchange for saving money. So, and I would also ask their professor, like, hey, could you give me someone who is consistently on time with their assignments and that type of thing? Because the professor will have a great idea, and they have the people that they trust, right? So that's a way that you can definitely save money, but I have been called in the past, for sure, to fix student projects, and then it ends up getting more expensive because you have to start all over, right? So just keep in mind, if you're gonna do that, have a clear vision. And then this is a big one, you have to know where it's gonna live. All too often, people are like, I don't know, we're gonna only put it everywhere. And you need to remember that folks on Twitter, as opposed to Facebook, as opposed to who's on your website, are completely different people, right? And, not that your brand necessarily changes platform to platform, but the way you frame something will change platform to platform if you're showing what I would call content empathy. And by content empathy, I just mean putting yourself in the viewer's shoes as you scroll and think about, why are they there? People aren't necessarily on Facebook to see your ad. They're there for, baby pictures and Trump memes. I don't know. So, or something. So think about that. And the fact that if you're putting something out there on certain platforms, you might not even want it to look really professional, right? There's nothing that pisses me off more than if I'm on Snapchat and suddenly it's like I'm watching like my friends' really horrible videos, and then suddenly there's like this Febreze, blah blah blah, and it's really loud, like the audio is super boosted and it's shot on like a 4K camera, and I'm like, what is happening? These people have no idea what Snapchat is like, and they have never been here before, ever. And except I've actually caught myself watching Snapchat ads from people who get it, right? Because they're shooting it in the vertical, the vertical video, which all professionals hate, but they're really thinking about it, and they're looking at the platform, and they're using emojis, and they're using the filters, and that type of thing. So think about, you don't want to necessarily stick out, because if you stick out as an ad, sure, someone might read it, but they also will go like, what an idiot. Like, they're reading it for the wrong reasons. Like, context is important, right? If you're, the amount of time spent on your ad, or the amount of time sometimes spent on your website, is not always indicative of the fact that somebody loves being there. It might mean that you have like super slow load time, or that somebody's really annoyed, right? So you gotta look at conversions as well, and sentiment. So in a nutshell, know your shit and have a plan before you contact a professional. Are we all cool with that? You gotta have a plan. Yay. Any questions about that section before I move on to some production basics? Like anyone like, hey, how do professionals screw us over? Like, feel free to like shout that out. That's fine. Like, I would also say, like, if you're sitting somewhere and they have like a brand new lobby, like, I would be leery that you're paying for the lobby, you know? So I'm not saying that's always the case, but always look at how many people are sitting in that meeting too, and say like, hey, am I being billed for these 3 different junior strategists that are sitting in the meeting? Because if so, like, they don't need to be here. I don't want them here, you know? So call them out on it. That's okay. They deserve it. We deserve it. It's cool. We're not all bad people, I promise. So, cool. No questions on what pros need to know? We're good? Everyone's like, this coffee has not kicked in yet. That's okay. It's fine. You're like, I walked 2 miles from my parking spot. Just let me learn, damn it. You know? So, okay. This is what I need you guys to do right now, since you're still asleep, okay? I would love for you to just put your arms out straight like this. And you're gonna keep them there while I talk through this quick little section. And I mean it. You're gonna be paying attention. Okay, so production, keep them there. I'm not effing with you right now. Stay, or you will be punished. So tripods make everything better. I love Gorilla Pods. They're awesome. I mean it. Gabe. Gonna murder you. No. He's doing the live stream. He gets a pass. It's okay. So Gorilla Pods are great because there's no fancy schmancy legs that go in and out that, you know, collapse on you and make you frustrated. They're bendable. You can put them wherever. You can wrap them around a tree. Yes, I mean it. Keep your arms out. I'm making a point here. Everyone's like, I didn't work out today. Well, now you are, so congratulations. Yeah. And if you don't have a tripod, you can always improvise by using books, okay? So books, stack them up, lean it against a window, whatever you do. Just, everyone's like, it burns. Like, except Elena, she's like a gymnast, so she's like, whatever, I got it. Like, yeah. It's like the SMB zombie, like, apocalypse. Oh. Yeah. She just wants you guys to work out more. Yeah. Okay, so I'll let you guys put your arms down. I was going to wait like 4 more slides, but I think we made our point. That slide is later on. And just keep in mind what you were doing and how much it hurt, okay? Great. So rule of thirds. Has anyone heard of this? Anybody know? Yep, about half of you guys. That's cool. Basically, your eye needs space to breathe and process information. And whenever the first time people are doing videos, they want to fill the frame. They want to put someone's face right in the very middle of it, or have them really close up, and just too much stuff, right? So think about using negative space. The negative space would be anything that's not the shell in that picture. And you're gonna split your frame into thirds, and the most interesting place for your eye to look would be where those thirds intersect, okay, where those lines intersect. So if you're interviewing someone, put them off to the side a little bit, which is nice because then you can put their little name right there, and then they feel important and shit. They're like, where's my name? You know, that's not my correct title. You know, you're like, shut up. Like, you know, so that is like the bane of my existence currently. And so here's another example of it. So when we were working with Ellen DeGeneres, and when Errol was shooting this, Errol's back there. Hi, Errol. Thanks for shooting today. We used rule of thirds here. So here, the super is on the third, and then they're both where their faces are intersecting. Yay, so interesting. Fun, great. Okay, this is killing me currently. We need to focus. We need to focus. Please focus. Please focus. If you're shooting with a smartphone, the smartphone will default to focusing on the lightest and brightest thing in the room. So remember that. If you're using a smartphone for your video, which is totally cool because they're great tools, tap to focus. And then if you want to lock in the iris, I know oh shit, everyone's like, I don't want that term here. So don't scare me with terms like photography. Basically, the amount of light that is being shown on your picture, okay? If you want to lock that in, then on an iPhone, I know for sure, and I think on an Android as well, if you can tap to focus, and then you can tap and hold, and it'll say AEAF lock. So that's autofocus, and the iris is going to lock as well. So that means if you move a little bit like this, it's not going to suddenly go like, whoosh, you're not going to look like touched by an angel suddenly or whatever that is. Yeah. And another thing, I guess while we're talking about light, just to mention really quickly, is please never, ever, ever, if you are shooting with a smartphone, put somebody with their back to a window. Because if you're trying to focus on their face, then everything behind them will blow out like white. Everything will be super, super, super white. Or the camera is just going to go, F you, I'm going to focus on outside anyway. I don't care. And suddenly that person will look like they're in To Catch a Predator or something. You know, like it's like a silhouette, which is not necessarily, I'm guessing, what 99% of your clients are going for. So make sure you're focusing. Please never put someone with their back to a window because it's going to look horrible. Instead, have them face the light, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. Elbows in. Hey, yeah, this is what we're talking about. They're doing it the wrong way because I was having them purposely do it the wrong way to see how much it sucks. And that's basically because, like, who has strong triceps? Nobody, right? My boyfriend does have strong triceps. You do have strong triceps, babe. You're right. Yep, he does. You're right. He also played Division I football, so fine. But so what you're going to want to do is, everybody, if you have your phone with you, why don't you try it real quick? You don't have to stand up, but instead of being out like a zombie, I want you to pull your elbows in to your rib cage. Yeah. Isn't that just so much easier than? Because our tendency when we're shooting someone for the first time is, oh my gosh, I need to, like, we've all seen our moms do this, right? It's like step and lean, and then it's like play, you know, and there's zero stability out there because you're like, play. And it's not gonna work. So keep it in here. Doop. Play. And then you're stabilized. Awesome. We good? No zombieing. Great. What else we got? Yeah, low budget doesn't mean low creativity. I was talking about this before. There are so many things that you can do when you're shooting just by shooting through something. Errol knows because I carry my bag of tricks with me, so I always have like necklaces and shit with me. But water bottles are great to shoot through as well if you want a texture to fill that frame. And let me show you an example of how that works. So this frame right here was shot at Loeffler in a rectangular, very white conference room. Just white walls, white everything, right? And to make it more interesting, we ended up, boom, this is what we did. We propped 3 different types of water bottles on a recycling can, and we used the natural light from the window as the light on her face. And the light that's in the background is actually an LED light that's a fake light to make it look like there's a window back there. And we put a fake plant in front of it to give it some texture as well. So this worked because we had a DSLR camera we were working with, and DSLR cameras have great depth, fuzziness, right? Instead of depth, we could just say fuzziness, that's a thing. And so that's why everything blurred out there in the front. That is an example of an advantage of buying a DSLR camera instead of using your smartphone. So, and the reason why they were shiny like that is because we filled the water at different levels in each bottle, and the sun was hitting it differently in each one. So, a lot of fun. Fun stuff. More production basics. I feel like sound is where is everyone like, oh my God, a microphone. It's not gonna work ever, right? It's terrifying. It's terrifying. So sound, my favorite mic to use right now, it's about $70, but you'll use it forever, is called a Rode SmartLav Plus. Rode SmartLav Plus. And I actually have on my website, pukerambos.com, on the blog, I have a blog post from December that is top DIY gear I'm digging right now, and there's a link to it. So if you don't want to have to remember something in your zombie coffee, I just worked my arms out fog, that's fine. It's right up there. The thing that I like about it is that it plugs directly into your headphone jack of your smartphone. And if you are a fancy person and have a new iPhone that doesn't have a headphone jack, then you just get a $10 adapter to plug it into the lightning port. And it'll automatically choose that audio for you, and it is clear as day and wonderful. A lot of people ask me about wireless mics for smartphone video, and I usually say, hey, do you just want one more thing to go wrong? Because if it's wireless, then your batteries are probably gonna die. So it's one more thing to think about, and that's why I like the Rode, because the one that just plugs directly in, because you never have to worry about it dying on you, and you don't have to worry about bringing a million batteries with you on a shoot either. So, yeah, I love it. It's fun. I use a lot. If you want to work around and you don't happen to have your fancy Rode mic yet, feel free to grab a second phone. And if somebody has pockets in their shirt, you can just have them drop the phone in their pocket and put it on voice memo and hit record and match up the audio and post. And the third thing that you can do is remember if you're doing a video where you're narrating something, so if you have a little animation or an infographic that you're talking about, if you're gonna do something where you're just tracking your voice, head to a closet. Because you probably notice in here, we have a lot of echoes, right? Because there's nothing to absorb the sound. So if you go to a closet, your clothing acts the same as a sound booth would. It's super slick. And your boss can be like, what are you doing? Oh, I just brought my clothes in. I'm going to put this in the supply closet. Don't mind me. I'm creating an audio booth. Super weird. But this is also a really common question I get. What is the best camera? Everybody, what is the best camera? What is the best camera? And here's the thing. I am not a gearhead. I'm not a tech head. I don't track blogs about cameras all the time because that is usually the job of my director of photography. I'm not going to lie. But this is the thing. When it comes down to it, the one you can operate with confidence is the best camera that you have. And if that ends up being your iPhone, more power to you. That's completely fine. There are films being submitted to Sundance now on iPhones. It's totally cool. And you're going to get a certain look with an iPhone. It's going to be pretty flat. You know, everything's going to be in sharp focus unless you have your subject super, super close to the phone and then, you know, you're really focusing, hi, Brooke, you know, and, and then you're going to get some drop-off, some fuzziness, which feels like depth, right? But I'm sure since they have that portrait mode in photo, that they'll probably be getting a little bit better in their next iterations with depth on the iPhone, I'm guessing. So yeah, whatever camera that you can operate with confidence is the camera that you should use, because time spent learning something could potentially just be time wasted. You know, I know how to use a bunch of different cameras and have been using cameras for 15 years and have 6 Emmys and whatever, but I use my iPhone to video blog because it's the fastest workflow for me. And I know that if I get out my Mark III that I'm gonna, it's gonna look pretty, but then I have to get out my external mic too, and then I have to get out this, and then I'm gonna have to pair this together, and then I'm gonna have to edit that differently. And if I just do it on my iPhone, oh cool, I'm gonna throw that in Premiere Clip, trim it, and throw it up on my website and not have to worry about anything else, right? If you're not making it super fancy or doing a lot of editing. So keep workflow in mind because time is money. And especially when you're probably sitting, I'm guessing, how many of you guys here are small business owners and you're just doing your own marketing, right? Yeah, so time is money for sure. And bosses need to remember as well that if you're putting somebody on video that's never done video before, the longer they spend working on learning it is the longer they're not doing the job that you hired them to originally do that they specialize in. So just keep that in mind. Yay. So yeah, DSLR difference. You can tell right here, like these little lights, fuzzy lights, we'll call them fuzzy, right? That's depth, which you'll get a lot more of that with the DSLR camera. I'm a Canon person, I like Canon. And so that would be my recommendation if we're being serious about actual recommendations. But what's gonna get you the best picture is gonna be the lens that you use on your camera. So keeping that in mind, that usually the lens that comes with the kit is not gonna be amazing. And you'd probably be better off getting a different lens, and I could give you advice about that if you have a specific thing that you're thinking about shooting. Then you want to ask me about it later. Because different lenses are used for different things, right? So, yeah, just keep that in mind. And the workflow is going to take you longer. But it'll look great. Talking about lighting. Yay! We talked about that a little bit, about not being back to the window, right? Because we don't want to be catch a predator thing, all that stuff. I love this trick the most. Using natural light, this is a selfie that I use natural light for. and I had a sheet over my window. Just a really cheap sheet. And it creates a softbox and makes it really glowy, right? So just buy a cheap $5, I don't even know how much a sheet costs, $5, and pin it up if that's what you're going to be doing. If you're going to be doing video blogging, that's going to be a really great, big, nice, full softbox for you. And if you're going to be buying softbox lights, that's going to cost you a lot more, right? $70, $100, $200 to buy softbox lighting instead of $5 for a sheet. So, sorry. 1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. Thanks. A lot of people, a lot of beauty bloggers, I would say, you know, they, you probably noticed they have this really nice but kind of quasi-creepy round glow in their eyes, and that's because they're using what's called a diva light. Diva light is a type of ring light that most of them use, and it just fits around your camera, and it gives you a nice glow. It's a certain look. It's not right for everything that you want to shoot. It wouldn't be right for shooting like a wide shot in a room, you know. But there's also kind of mini versions of that. So here, let me show you that. So you can see this thing. Hi. Ooh, you have your light out too. Molly has a light that she just carries with her so that she can always look beautiful. Okay, sure, Molly. Whatever, Molly. So I like this fly light. I think it's, when I look at the marketing for this, I think it's meant for like 12-year-old girls, like their selfies or something. But it comes in handy if you're doing video. Basically, here, let me put this down and show you how it works. Orange light. Hi, thanks. Oh, wow. This feels very fancy. Then you would use this one. Awesome. So you're talking and doing one of these. And thank you for your service, Ron. I appreciate it. I didn't mean service. That sounded dirty. Okay, weird. Whoa. Good morning. Oh, and it also has a little mirror on it. Just to make sure, just in case you want to be extra vain, you know. So, and I think this was all of like $13. It's in that same exact blog post that I have the other stuff in. So it's called a fly light, F-L-I-I. I like the fly lights because they can fill in if you're out doing a Facebook Live video somewhere, you're kind of walking around and you're, you know, maybe kind of going in and out, and they're just handy dandy little things. Other than that, I would recommend, if you're going to step it up a notch, to get a 3-point lighting set that has soft boxes, because they're just easier to use because the light isn't as concentrated. Basically, what a softbox does is just kind of spreads out the light so you don't get those really harsh shadows on your face. And you're like, I don't know where to put it, you know. And the ideal spot for those are going to be slightly above eye level, so that if you're looking into the camera, you're not going to get lots of glare. You know, it's coming down at you a little bit. Yay. Cool. Where's that clicker? How are we doing on time? Boop. Perfect. Are you guys still awake? Okay. Do I need to make you zombie again? Awesome. Okay, so here's an example of my handsome boyfriend. He does a show. He's a professional chef, and he does a Facebook Live show called Chef Talk Tuesday at the Dapper Chef. This is one of the first ones that we did with him, and he's sitting in front of a computer just answering questions about cooking. And obviously he's getting like huge glare off of his glasses. You can see the computer. And I think we were using like one desk lamp, but it was like right here, and it's just pointed straight at him, right? Then we switched over to 2 softboxes, and wow, this looks really dark, but it's not that dark. Anyway, and he is not an asshat like the first guy that we showed. He's very nice. So even light on the face, and we put them, he's giggling back there. We put them just above eye level, which is kind of hard because he's 6'7". But yeah, so that's what we did to change it. Yay, cool. We're going to take a little creative break because I want to show you guys something. I think that we get caught up in video so often as client-facing or B2B-facing, and we forget that video can also be used to speed up the training process when you're onboarding new employees, new clients, that type of thing. This is just an example of using you could use photos as a slideshow, remember that, because that's going to catch somebody's attention on Facebook. And that's really easy to do if you download the app Premiere Clip. It's the mobile version of Adobe Premiere, so Premiere Clip. And you can just literally select all the photos that you want, and it'll set them to music. And done. 5 seconds, export. I mean, it's not great music because it's like licensed by Adobe, so it's like ding, 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 you know, like some ridiculous. Or like it put some photos that I had the other day when I was teaching a client with it, and it sounded like Slayer. I was like, wow, this is aggressive. But you can go back and change it if you want to, unless you like really like Slayer. Screencastify is a tool that I love. It's gonna do the same thing as like ScreenFlow or Camtasia as far as capturing your screen, but instead of being software, it's a Chrome plugin. And so, I don't know, I just love it, it's fun. And it's free, which is cool. Screencastify. The Pro version, which will allow you to export videos out instead of just viewing them on the internet, is a whopping $2 a month. So if you can afford $2 a month, that's the Pro version for Screencastify. And I just did, this is like the first time I ever opened up Screencastify, and I was just showing, I was using my Blue Yeti mic, a USB mic into my laptop and just kind of explaining something really quick.
Hey guys, so I have Screencastify open along with a billion other tabs, obviously, but I'm going to open up Adobe Premiere Pro so you can see how to get started there, and so you can also see how Screencastify works. So here's Adobe Premiere Pro Creative Cloud, which you pay monthly. You're going to simply hit New Project, and then you're going to title it Demo. And there's all these settings here. I have mine already set to where I want. You'd browse so you know where you're going to be saving things. And I usually would suggest that you save to an external hard drive, because if you're saving video on your internal hard drive, like the one that's embedded in your computer, you're going to crash that thing pretty darn quick. So yeah, definitely invest in some external hard drives. So anyway, for demo purposes, I'm saving to the hard drive really quick just because this is a 2-second video I'm doing. So then you're gonna hit OK. And then the sequence opens up like this. Fancy, huh? It may look intimidating, but we're gonna walk through a couple things so that you guys don't feel like you're in over your head. And yeah, so that's how you open up a project in Adobe Premiere Pro Creative Cloud. And it's a little bit about how to use Screencastify.
Yeah, so it was really easy because that's the first video I ever did in Screencastify. You literally just press play, like record. It's like 3, 2, 1, start, and then you can record your entire screen and you can crop it down if you want. So it allowed me to crop out all my internet browser tabs that I was talking about and crop it into the Adobe Premiere interface, which was great. So if you have software, think about how can you use video to work for you. Right, to do work for you. So if you're onboarding new employees and they need to learn how to use their time card and you're explaining it over and over and over and over again, maybe you should make a quick video. Stuff like that. Things that you just get so tired of doing, make a note to yourself of something that you could probably make a video of to speed things along. Don't forget that animated GIFs are awesome for, they're eye-catching, they're video, technically. And using the Boomerang app is really great, especially if you're on Instagram. And then also an app called Stop Motion Studio is fantastic. Who knows what stop motion is? Yeah, so it's where it just looks like a bunch of pictures flying by really fast. It looks very complicated, but if you use the Stop Motion Studio app, you can just put it on automatic and it'll take a picture like you can set it to every 5 seconds or every 10 seconds or whatever you want to set it to and make a very professional looking video. So, yeah, a little bit more on that. So keep in mind all those things. And then another app that I really like to use is called Magisto. And the only thing is that you do have to pay 99 cents if you're going to export something out of it. But it has tons of filters, tons of like story, like themes basically, and lots of licensed music within that. So it almost just makes it worth it, the 99-cent download, because you would be probably paying for that in music anyway, somewhere else. So, yay. Here's an example of a stop motion studio campaign that was done on Instagram by a company in Sweden that I just adore and think is cool because Europeans are awesome and always ahead of us. I don't know. So here we go.
Åhléns is Sweden's largest chain of department stores. They needed to spread the word about their summer collection to a new audience, the youngsters, a target group traditionally hard to attract for Åhléns. So we turned to a platform where we could find them and created a game only using Instagram and the screenshot function on their phones. In 3 different Instagram videos, products flashed by in high speed. If you were fast enough to screenshot an item, you got it at half price. To collect the discount, you just posted your screenshot, hashtagged it, and showed it at the cash register. And it worked. People posted thousands of screenshots of Åhléns products and automatically promoted the collection among all their followers and friends. They even started tagging others in the videos to spread the campaign. This way, the old-fashioned coupon became something new and engaging, and made the hard-to-get youngsters visit the store.
See how nice they are? They call them youngsters instead of millennials or like whatever usually the words that we use in meetings. So yeah, pretty cool, huh? I think it's just a great idea and an awesome way to use stop motion. I gave a different workshop and I challenged the people in the workshop to use the Stop Motion Studio app for Valentine's Day. And I asked them how long it took them to do these like 10-second Valentine's Day videos where either like a wrapper is unwrapping and then there's a business card in the middle of it that has their company logo or something like that. And they look great and they look really professional and they use the Stop Motion Studio app. And all the people that did that in the group said it took them under a half hour to create it from top to bottom. So Stop Motion Studio app, very intuitive and very effective. So think about it. All right, getting people to watch. That's the fun part, right? Organically. Yay. Okay. I'll fly through this real quick. Just so you guys know, and this is from my own research currently when I'm studying for clients and my own videos that are going out. And I've also seen it in a couple articles as well. Ever since that new algorithm change, just a couple whatever it's been, like a month now. Facebook Live is currently getting 3 times the organic reach of videos that have been edited and tons of time taken and then uploaded, right? Doesn't that just piss you off? Because you're like, I spent so much time on this video, and now Facebook Live is the thing. Damn it, you know. So, but the cool thing about Facebook Live is if you can get over your fear of it and get over your fear of like going live on Facebook or YouTube, there are so many things that you can do with it. It's really, really great. And I'm actually going to be giving a webinar next week, a free webinar about getting more confidence on camera. So I'll have the link to that at the end so that you guys have it. But the thing that I'm loving about Facebook Live right now is that I'm seeing people that are maximizing their content like beasts, right? So they're doing their podcasts, but they're doing it on Facebook Live. So then they have, you know, video content, but it's a podcast. And they're also pausing very strategically so that when they are, you can download your Facebook Live videos. You guys all know that, right? If you go live on Facebook, you can download it. And then they're taking it into, you know, like mobile apps, and then they're strategically pausing, you can tell, so that they can make micro videos out of like their long podcast. You know, so which is awesome, right? Because you sit down once and maybe you have a conversation with somebody, and then, hey, cool, wow, that video took me literally 2 seconds to just trim it down and push it back out again as brand new content on a different platform. So, but keep that in mind when you're doing Facebook Live or any kind of live streaming, that if you're answering questions, you need to repeat the question. Because otherwise, if you're putting it on a different platform and you're like, yes, Gregory, that is a great yes. Actually, yes, that's what you should do. People then on YouTube are going to be like, what the hell is this person talking about? You know, so really keep in mind where you're going to be using that live stream later on and repeat those questions. Yay. And I love it because it's not a lot of work, right? Tack up your sheet in your office and press live and talk, okay? What I want you guys to do right now is to stand up because we're all tired. Just really quick. I want you to say your name, and then I want you to tell me something that you love to talk about. So I would say, for example, I am Erica, and I love to talk about social justice. So ready, on the count of, think of what you love to talk about. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Great. Wow, that was, you guys really love those things. How you sound so sure of that. I am Brooke, and I love to talk about, no, I'm kidding. Okay, go ahead and sit down. You guys are like, I hate moving, and this lady is making me do all this stuff. Okay, so that brings up another point. When you are live, you have to be alive. Okay? So we need to think about that passion is so contagious with whatever you are talking about. How many of you guys have seen, oh man, now I am blanking on him, Frankie the weather guy from Nova Scotia? Does anyone know who I'm talking about? Yes, and he just like rambles, and he's like, Minnesota, get ready, you have a storm coming your way, and he's amazing, right? He has millions of followers on YouTube, and he's like, buy your iced tea, buy your Pepsi, buy your pizza now, the storm is headed your way, and he's just like so enthusiastic. It's like, oh, this is amazing. You just really need to remember that being positive and being passionate about something on a live video, especially in the social media climate of today, which is basically like politics, we all hate each other, right, is gonna stand out. And people are craving passion right now. They want to see people who love what they're doing and who love to talk about a certain thing, because they're getting so much negativity everywhere else in their feed that you are going to 100% stand out. Because how many of us are sick of fighting on Facebook with our weird uncle, right? Like, it's just too much right now. It's too much. So Facebook Live is great for a lot of things. Q&A is awesome on Facebook Live, whether that person is with you or if you're using a program to do a split screen, which I am currently blanking on right now, but I will send that out. And I think it's called Crowdcast. Yes, Crowdcast is a good one to use. Events are great on Facebook Live, interviewing people at events. They're saying right now that the optimal time for Facebook Live is actually around 18 minutes. So maybe a little bit longer than you thought, right? Probably because it takes like 15 minutes for Facebook to be like, we're looking for your friends, we're looking for your friends. We're telling them that you're live. And also, if you're going live, and you see a big fat 0 there, or like 0, 1, 0, 1, like don't let that make you feel bad, because that's what's happening for most people, just for some perspective. And you're gonna get probably 95% of your views from replays. In fact, I was live the other day, and my friend Rachel was on my live, I just went live on Facebook, and my friend Rachel pops up and she goes, oh my God, are you really live right now? And I was like, yes, hi, Rachel. And she's like, oh my God, you're talking to me. You're actually live. She's like, this is the first Facebook Live I've actually seen live. I keep trying to talk to people and they're not still there, So just really pay attention if there are people in the room, and, ask them really simple questions at first, because once one person answers a question, then it'll get the ball rolling. So even if it's as simple as, where do you work? Where do you work? Something really easy. Just get the ball rolling that way. Special promotions are great. I love this concept of having office hours on Facebook Live. Ian Bremmer, who is a political analyst, does this every Friday at noon, and he goes over basically all of the world news in 20 minutes, and I live for it. I love it, because I feel like I don't have to watch anything else, because he's very bipartisan, and I can just get caught up right away, right? And people are asking questions, and he's taking the most popular questions. And he also does this fun little thing where he knows that Facebook does the whole we're telling your friends that you're live right now for basically the first 5 minutes. And so he just puts a puppet down that looks like him with a sign that says, we'll be starting at 12:05 Central, and then he comes in and he's like, hey guys, glad you're all here. And when he repurposes the video, though, make sure you edit that part out. Otherwise, people are just waiting and waiting and waiting. So that's an idea if you don't want to sit around and wait for the room to fill up for you for Facebook Live. And I'm doing lots of workshops in 2018 about Facebook Live, so fun, cool stuff. Cross-promote, that's such a great way to organically grow your audience. I know it's a no-brainer, and we just keep saying it, and people don't do it. So really think about the influencers out there that you can talk to. Think about nonprofits you could work with potentially with your business that have followings that match your key audience that you're trying to target. Should you bring someone on a Facebook Live interview from that organization to cross-promote and ask them to post it on their blog and then say, hey, how about then we'll do the same thing vice versa, so that you guys can get our audience as well. And have that data ready for them so that they know that they're going to benefit from it as well. Also, something to remember is that 85% of Facebook videos right now are being watched without sound, which is pretty crazy. It flip-flops for Facebook Live, obviously. I looked at my Facebook Live stats the other day, and it was like 95% of people are watching your Facebook Live with sound. And I was like, what are the other 5% of people doing? And I have really weird expressions on my face. And are they just making up a story? I don't know. So the way to get around that, I'm not sure if you guys knew this, but it's really easy to caption videos in Facebook now. And they've added an auto-generate feature, and YouTube has actually done the same thing. So you just you make your video big. There we go with the technical terms again. Make your video big, and then go up into the upper right-hand corner, and there'll be a pull-down menu, and you'll say Edit Video, and then this thing will pop up, and you'll mouse over to Captions. On some platforms and apps, it's a menu that's vertical, not horizontal. So depending on where, if you're doing, Facebook natively on your desktop, or if you're using an iPad app, that type of thing, it might look a little bit different, but it will be a tab that you can choose. And you're gonna get a hell of a laugh when you see what Facebook thinks that you said on your video at first. Because I don't know what it was the other day, but it was something like, oh, hey, yeah, Roger Rabbit was getting the bricks of the whatever. And I was like, what did I even say? This is a tips video about how to hold your phone. Why does it think I was talking about Roger Rabbit? It's a little bit like Siri, right? So that everything is a little bit jumbled. But then you'll go in and be able to just click and type and correct whatever it said. And you can do that both on YouTube and Facebook, which is how people are getting captions so quickly, because otherwise you'll have to, hire a service like Rev and upload an SRT file, and that's just, another step. So, use this auto-generate feature and have a lot of fun. Yay. Telling a damn good story is one way to get wonderful reach as well. Really thinking about that video with intention and not living, I guess I would say, don't live in the middle when you're making a video. You want to think about the extreme emotions that you're going to give people. You're going to make them really happy. You might be tapping into making them really sad. You're giving them knowledge that they want to pass on to somebody. You're giving them something else, water cooler talk that they want to spread. You're not living in the middle and being like, hi, I'm Dan, and I founded my business in 1942. And because you really need to think about when you're putting a video out, would you want to watch it? Like, if it's boring you to death and you work at the company, the chances are you're wasting all that money. And time is money, right? So you're wasting, your time as well. So really think about that. Charity Water is great. I'm going to show you this video really quick because I love them. So if you need an example of amazing storytelling, Charity Water is an awesome organization. And this is just a really simple video that I show at pretty much every workshop that I do. So, yay.
Birthdays, we all have them. Some of us love the attention, and some of us, well, wish we could skip the whole thing. No matter how you feel about your big day, you can use your birthday to change the world. Meet Lori.
I'm Lori.
For his 6th birthday, Lori asked people to donate $6 instead of giving him gifts. His campaign raised $2,386.
All the money went to Rwanda to help people.
That's how it works. Your gifts become gifts for others. Friends and family donate to your campaign, and 100% of the money you raise goes to water projects around the world. And then we show you exactly where it went and who it helped. Whether you're turning 36 or 26 or even just 6, you can use your birthday to change the world. That's a birthday you'll remember forever.
It ends with music and a nice little graphic, and I'm going to fast forward because we're running out of time. But some of the things that I love about Charity Water and what they do is they simplify things, and they use things within the office to shoot, right? They just wrapped a present. They didn't take a ton of time and create a graphic. They stacked money that was in their pocket and shot it to illustrate giving and donating. think about the things and like look around your office, like what can I use in this video without overthinking it and trying to figure out how to do a graphic in some program that I don't know how to use. You know, it could be a mouse pad that has your company logo on it. It could be, you know, a lot of us have all that type of swag, right? So think about that. Also remember, positive sticks out, and every hero needs to have an obstacle. So think about your story and what you're trying to overcome, because everybody loves a hero. So Lori is obviously trying to overcome and help people with the water crisis. That is the hurdle, and he is just a kid. That is a hurdle. So a wonderful kid, right? Just like I said, pinpoint the emotion you want to convey, stick with it, and make sure that you feel something before you post it, as a rule of thumb for video. Yay. Some of the hurdles people have, and we've talked about this before, is just like being scared, right? Just being scared in general. Technology's a jerk, that kind of thing. If you're scared to go on camera, feel free to head to pukegrainpost.com/webinars/ and that'll take you to a spot where you can sign up for a little webinar about getting more comfy on camera. And I'm going to tell a really quick story. It's like usually a 15-minute story. I'm going to make it 3 minutes so that I can still do those live critiques. Basically, in a nutshell, Errol and I actually had a chance to work with Prince, and that was really, really fun. And I actually thought that I was going to throw up on him because I was so nervous, and that is not where puke rainbows came from. But I really did think that I was going to throw up all over Prince, right? Because he, at the time, had a reputation, and we knew people that had maybe not met his standards, right? And so we were both nervous, and he asked us to see some of the footage that we had shot, and I took it back to him, and he did this thing where he started shaking his head like this as he's watching it, and I'm like, oh my God, this is it, I'm gonna throw up everywhere. And he looked at our friend Pete, and he's like, hey, you said that these guys create video. And Pete's like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking, where are you going with this? And I thought I had accidentally taken a still photo, so I was freaking out. And he looked back at us, at our group, and said, you know what? You don't create video. From now on, tell people that you create art. And I want you guys to keep that in mind as you're creating things, is that it's art. It's meant to be enjoyed. It's meant, whatever you do is art. If you're a marketing person, that's art. Taking numbers and data and converting it into a way that can help you pinpoint what you need to do, that's art. It's amazing. There are so many people that don't understand it, and you're an artist in your own way. So really keep that in mind. And now I'm going to do a couple live critiques and then answer a couple questions. Does that sound good? We'll wrap you guys up and get you guys to work with sore triceps. Yeah. All right, first video. Maybe. Maybe not. It's amazing. Oh. That wasn't my bad because I copied it twice into the same slide. So, a couple things about the confab video that I absolutely loved was the framing was spot on, right? They used the rule of thirds really, really well. Obviously, this is shot on either a cinematic camera or a DSLR because it had great depth of field, the shallow fuzzies, right? The picture looked awesome. I think the only two things that I would maybe think about would be that he was talking about how like confab has changed his life and it's been really great and making these connections, but we never see the connections happening. So just thinking about getting a little bit of, it would be called B-roll, I had someone once thought it was called brol. They're like, when are we getting the brol? And I was like, what? I'm like, Errol, what's brol? You know, I don't know. So B-roll, meaning the second track of footage that's not the interview. So some footage of people actually acting together and having a relationship. And then the other thing I would say would be in an event setting, audio-wise, you're probably going to want to either give someone a stick mic like this to capture it, or mic them up with a wireless, because a boom mic is probably going to capture just a little bit too much ambient sound happening around there. And actually on some of the other videos that they sent me, the audio was much better, so I don't know if it was that it was just shot in a different location or if they switched out mics. Confab people, anyone? Any thoughts? Anyway, okay, cool. Next one. Yay. Cool. Yay. Cute. That was from Brooke. Thank you, Brooke. And Brooke actually shot that on her phone. So, yay, Brooke. Good job. Very cool. I like the music, I thought, was really fun, and it kind of gives some personality. I thought that was really great. Nice and graphic to like drive people to what the product is, and a lot of different shots. I would say you could probably just make it about half as long and still get the same result. Yeah. So, yeah, make it about half as long. And then maybe, I think that we all tend to do this. We live in like a medium shot world where we're kind of like standing like this far away from someone, and that's like how far the shot's gonna be, right? So remember that we need to move with our feet and get in super tight on something, and then move back and get super wide with something. And you definitely had some wider shots going on there, and I think the only thing I was missing was like maybe just really as close as you can get with your smartphone. Yeah, so good stuff. Awesome. And then one last one. How are we doing on time? Are we done? 5 minutes, cool. Last one. This is a company in Iowa that's actually watching on the live stream. So, it's a bank.
It's been great being back. It was actually a calling. I didn't anticipate or plan this move back to my hometown of Ventura. My mom and dad both became ill at the same time, and I was working in broadcast journalism and loving my career and living the dream, as they say. But my heartstrings were just pulling me back here to be with my mom and dad. I always wanted to be the one to take care of them. And so I honored that promise to myself and that promise to them, and moved back into my small little home that I grew up in Ventura, and have had just such blessings being able to take care of them, but also have had the opportunity to kind of reinvent myself. It's not all about caregiving. I have to make sure I take a little time away and get involved in the community and try to figure out what is going to be next for me in this next chapter, whatever that might be. And so when I partnered up with MBT Bank, I was thrilled because they are as passionate and loyal and committed to the community as I am.
So cool. So the whole first part was animation, and then they had their template animation. I would say just a couple things to kind of refine this process. This is actually a woman who's really well known in their market because she was a broadcast journalist. So for as far as targeting goes, you know, you guys are like, who the hell is this? But their market would know who it is. I would say it gets a little bit disjointed because there's this music that is under the animation, but not under her. So if in the music bed, you could kind of fade out under her so it doesn't feel like three separate things. I would love to see that happen. I think that would be great. And then the only other thing that I was a little bit distracted with was that the MBT sign on the bank counter was so bright that it almost took away from her face. And you could tell that she's like used to being on air. She's an on-air talent. And sometimes the theater majors and the former on-air talent people are sometimes the hardest people to work with because they're so used to being on camera and they have a camera presence and that is just how they're used to talking. So you might actually have to coach them into not enunciating quite as much, which seems counterintuitive to most people, right? So just say like, hey, okay, do that. A great trick for people when you're interviewing them is to say, do that again, but would you explain it to me like I'm a pretty smart sixth grader, you know? And that way their language will become a lot more simplified and not quite as corporate speak and that type of thing. So that would be something I'd think about. Yeah, so the live critiques are done. Anyone have any questions? I know we threw a lot at you. Yeah. Okay, one question. I can take the other questions on Twitter though.
I've been seeing a lot of people do like an overlay before their Facebook Live videos that has whether it's their logo or a countdown. Is there a simple program to use that's unpaid that I could implement?
Yeah, let me think about that for a second. Thinking. Graphics program.
I don't know if, I think you said Crowdcasting does the split screens. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
something
that's
that they
split
also
screen.
do.
So
Okay.
that would be split screen, and Crowdcasting also casts to Facebook Live and YouTube Live and like Periscope and all of those like all at the same time, which is pretty awesome.
Oh.
It is a paid app, just so you know. But maybe something like Canva or Molly, what were you showing me last night that had some animation in it that actually worked? Crello? Yeah, that had some animation in it. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah, absolutely. I use Photoshop and After Effects, so like yeah. Last question.
Ooh,
Yay.
lucky.
We do a lot of events where we want to then share out video of the presentation. Any suggestions for how to just make that not look like just really boring crap?
Yeah. So are you doing an edited video or are you going live at the event?
Oh, sorry, what was that?
So are you doing an edited video or are you live at the event?
Edited usually.
Edited video. Yeah. So the touches are in the details. So really get close to things. Think about being really close to the name tags. Think about using, if you're shooting it like on a smartphone, think about using the capabilities of a smartphone to the best of its ability. For example, like grab a GorillaPod, set it up, do a time lapse of people arriving at the event, you know, or do slow motion of people standing together and laughing because we're so funny. Ha ha ha, great, yes, Brooke, good job, Brooke, that was great. And slow motion is great for capturing emotion, and time lapse is great for capturing scale, right? So using those two things that are right within your phone can really help you like with the pacing of the edit to make it more interesting. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And I think I have, I'm not taking another question, no, but I do have a blog post about making event video more interesting. So yeah, cool. He's just gonna shut me off, that's fine. If you guys had fun today, please feel free to, if you would like to, talk to Errol about having fun, because I'm trying to put together a speaker reel. And if you didn't, then please leave and never talk to me again.
Let's give Erica a big round of applause.
Thanks, guys.